What's up, everybody? This is Brian, and welcome back to More Low Less Talk. This is episode 2, and in this episode we are going to work on the inside of the fenders. So we've already cut out for the wheels. The wheel comes up in here so high we have to chop out the inside. And what we're going to do in this video is we are going to fill in the pieces that we chopped out and make room for the wheels. All right, so I'll show you what I'm talking about. We already had this arch cut out for this wheel, and I had to make this piece here. This is going to be made in 3 separate pieces. This piece here to kind of, make it look more like factory right here, and then there's some pieces underneath here to keep the when the wheel's spinning around, keep it from flinging water and dirt and stuff inside the fender. So that's the purpose of this episode. Enjoy, and we'll check you out on the next one. In this episode, I am going to get to the fender. Basically, this is where we have, let me zoom you in here. This is where we have chopped out the inside of the fender. So you're going to look from the top side here. And this is the underside. So we have chopped all this out to make room for the tire. But now we need to fill this back in. So instead of, like you see how this moves out, we're going to actually have a piece that goes in to get out of the way of the tire. And then this piece here is going to be a separate piece that curves like that with this curve here. See? So I'm going to do those 2 pieces, and then once that's all done, we need to make a piece up here that curves up here and continues this line basically straight across to here. And when we get done, it will look like this once it's all done. So it'll more or less look factory. Factory's never going to have the wheel come that high, but at least this carries. And then once we're done, we'll be able to do the body work and stuff to get rid of all that. So let's get started. Okay, I'm going to start with just a simple piece of paper. And so again, I've got to cut this piece and this piece are going to be separate pieces. I'm going to start with this one, and pretty much the easy way to do this is just to use your hand like that. I've got a little weird notch right here in the metal that I didn't cut all the way out. I'm going to have to get that. That should be a nice transfer. All right. That was more of an adventure than I thought it would be, but basically you saw I had to cut this back out and retrim some more. But basically this whole top portion here was hanging down really low where it was really tight up here. So I had to chop it all back out and kind of start all over again. But that's just because I wasn't paying enough attention. Got my mind on other things like trying to get home early and stuff. So anyway, that's going to be that. Let me turn this welder off. That's going to be that. And for today, I'm going to come back tomorrow and finish all this stuff up. And so like I said, tomorrow I'm going to come in, cut this piece, I'm just basically going to weld it all and do it all tomorrow. So we'll see you in the morning. Okay, so as you saw, cut out the old piece. It wasn't fitting right. I wasn't liking it. Also, I forgot to put some primer on the back side of the sheet metal. I didn't want it to rust. So pulled the old piece out. Here it is. And anyway, cut a whole new piece. That one was getting too small for the spot because I kept cutting it out and redoing it. But here's our new piece. It's looking good. Just tack welded in. Now I'm going to get to this piece. right. Battery's about dead in the camera, but you know, here we go. Gonna have to, you know, stitch weld this whole thing. It's gonna take some time. But once that's done, we'll grind it down, and then we're gonna start on this piece up here, and we'll do all the same stuff. Stitch it in and grind it down. Put some primer on it when it's all done so it doesn't rust, because I won't be able to get back to it for a while. And then that'll be it for the day. That'll be the goal for the day. Stick around. All right, we're back. Back from lunch. Something I noticed is kind of funny. Like, I don't usually eat breakfast, and my output, like me talking about stuff, is usually very low energy, is what I've noticed. I come back from lunch and I got a lot more energy. So I apologize for that. Something I've noticed. I'll try to do better, but at any rate, here is where I'm at so far. It's all basically stitched in, and now it's time to hit it with the grinder. The grinder and the flap disc, and this ought to make it look really good. And then once I'm done with that, I'm going to paint it, just put it in primer, and once that's all done, then we're going to work on this piece that goes up here. Before I get too far, I'm going to test fit this and make sure this arch is good. If you look at this thing, if you look at this thing down this line, you can see this thing curves in quite a bit right here. This is probably not made any better by what I just did, but this actually already had this from some work I did before. So that sucks, but it is what it is. I'm going to throw this thing on the car right now and see what it looks like. Make sure this curve matches the wheel. You can see there's actually a little bit more of a gap here than most of the rest of it. Well, maybe it's just my eyes playing with me. At any rate, I think that most of that, any little inconsistency in it, will get taken up when I put this piece on. But it looks good. At least it's clearing. At least it's clearing the tire now. Because before I started doing all this work to the fenders, man, the tire was pushing the fender up. So anyway, let's get back to work. All right, everybody, that is the fender done. So when you get right up on it, you can see all this stuff. This just gets fixed with body work, some Bondo and stuff. What I do not like is this ripple in the body. Holy crap, that looks terrible. I'm probably gonna have to go back there and fix that. This inside looks fine. I'm not even gonna body work this. I'm just gonna probably put a seam sealer or something. I don't know what I'm gonna do there, but nobody's ever gonna see that. But check this out. I'm excited about this. 4-link kit came in, which should have been this episode, but it wasn't here in time. Never done a 4-link kit. I'm super excited about that. But anyway, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use that to fix the rear suspension pinion angle problem I was talking about before. So anyway, that's gonna be in the next episode. Stay tuned for that. That is a lot of work to get that to function properly. It's not just putting bars in. We got to do a lot of extra work. So stay tuned for that. That's going to be in the next episode. Thanks for watching. Oh, by the way, if you like the content, like, subscribe, notification bell, all of the things. Thanks. Bye.